What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Palm City Chucks. We have our first standalone college video for you. We mentioned in the last few weeks we plan on splitting up our college and NFL episodes this year. This will be the first week of doing so. That being said, we are late to the punch. So we're going to recap last week, week 0, some people call it. Only ranked matchup we had was 22 Iowa State versus Kansas State, and that game was in Ireland, which is pretty cool. And since we are late to the punch, we did miss a ranked game this week, week 1, and that was 25 Boise State taking on South Florida. But yes, we are going to discuss teams ranked 1 through 25 and their matchups each week, and we'll see who falls, who comes in. But yeah, it should be fun. We're all juiced up, ready for the season to, take action, and we're here, baby. But let's start with the week 0 matchup: 22 Iowa State versus Kansas State. The final was 24-21 Iowa State. AJ, any notes on that game?
Well, I don't like how the game picks for college started off. That's
Yeah.
for sure. I'm just gonna say that first. Got this one wrong. You got it right, so you're one ahead of me here. But that's pretty consistent with how college was last year. But I'm looking to turn it around. Do you talk about the actual game itself? It was a bit sloppy. Week 0 to be expected. But it was close, as you mentioned, 24-21. It was
Yeah.
quite a low-scoring game, 14-7, I think, going into the fourth quarter. Kansas State equalizes 14-14 about a minute in. Iowa State takes control, goes up by 10. Kansas State gets close, like 6.5 minutes left, and Iowa State just has a fantastic drive to close the game out. Kansas State never touches the ball again. Unfortunate for our bettors. We did talk about the over-under a little bit last week, so I want to reference
Yes.
that. But they score that touchdown, the line goes over, they don't, and they kneel the game out, stays under. So it's always funny how that happens. One possession like that. People who set these lines they're brilliant.
Oh
I'll
man,
just
that's
say
crazy.
that. But
Makes you
Avery
think it's all
Johnson,
rigged.
it, that's why people think that for sure. But people are paid a
Yeah.
lot of money to get these lines right, do a lot of
Right.
analysis. But Avery Johnson of Kansas State looked pretty decent. He didn't do anything spectacular, no touchdowns. Unfortunate for Kansas State, Dylan Edwards goes down very early with the ankle injury, so they're without their starting running back for the rest of the game. I definitely think that made a difference in college when your top running back's 12 for like 53 for 4.3 average. It's not fantastic in college. It's okay. It's not
Yeah.
terrible, but it's not great. But Iowa State just looked a little better overall in this first week.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, little sloppy, but still an exciting finish there. Just so glad we're here.
Yeah, I'm just glad there's
Uh,
football on the TV, baby. That counts
yeah,
too.
exactly. So let's talk about the football last night that took place, Thursday night, I'm referencing. Boise State, number 25 seed, take it on South Florida. They get shellacked. 7-34. South Florida takes it home. Boise State just looked pretty sloppy. Few first half turnovers. Then South Florida comes out with the fake punt, scores a touchdown on it. Just got so much momentum. It was all but done from that point moving on. And yeah, they just kept adding insult to injury and running it up on them.
Yeah, I gotta ask, did you make a pick on that game? Because I'll admit I picked Boise State and I was incorrect. So
Yes, yes, yeah. I made a pick, and I also went Boise State. Um, yeah, I wonder if South Florida's kind of back to themselves, because a few years ago they were a pretty nice team, and last year not so much. Defense was terrible, but clearly last night the defense looked pretty good, forcing those turnovers and holding a top ranked team in the country to only 7 points. So yeah, and that certainly hurts. I know I had Boise State squeaking in as one of the non power conferences to make the college football playoff. And already that seems like it's not going to happen unless, South Florida refuses to lose the rest of the way or something crazy. But then guess what? South Florida's in.
That's so true. But yeah, I also had Boise State squeaking in, I think, as the non-major conference winner that
Yeah.
gets in there. Um, but yeah, I mean, Boise State scored first, went up 7-0, and after that, it was all USF. There's not much else to it. They really dominated the game on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, they never lost some momentum. They got those turnovers, one of which was a Boise State making a push to tie or take the lead down 7-10. They're in the red zone. The turnover happens, and yeah, Boise State, I mean, they just never really got back into it after that.
Yeah. There is also one game we're recording. Well, it's right about at halftime. It's close to halftime. I don't think there's a lot of question in who was going to win this one. Western Illinois going up against 12 ranked Illinois. 12
Illinois.
to open the season for Illinois is quite impressive.
Yeah.
I got Illinois here. I don't think that Western Illinois coming to Illinois is going to have a lot of luck there. And
Yeah.
with the way the game started, last score I saw before we started this was 13-0 Illinois, so it seems to be heading in that direction.
Yeah, for sure. I also had Illinois, but yeah, interesting 12 spot to start the year. Wouldn't have guessed it. It's not a team typically in this area. Big Ten's very strong conference, and they're one of the top teams in the early polls here. So we'll
Better
see
than the
how it shakes
SEC.
out when it's we'll see how it shakes out when it's all said and done. But yeah, starting at 12, they certainly have a lot of pressure.
Yeah, no, for sure. So now let's move on to the games in the top 25 that will happen tomorrow. Let's start with the big one, the marquee matchup at 11 Central, 12 Eastern. We're in different time zones, so I'll say both. Threw me off a little bit thinking about it. But number 1, Texas going up against number 3, Ohio State. Ohio State at home. Who you got here and why?
I went Texas. I feel like uh quarterback play, Arch has at least a little bit of experience. I think out of the gates, Texas will be a little more ready to play because of this. That being said, Ohio State's always ready, always has a stacked roster. But yeah, so does Texas. And then, that SEC in me also gives it a little bit of a push. And yeah, also just Ohio State doesn't really need this. They just don't. Like, they really don't. They win their conference games. They're going to make playoffs. They're going to make a deep run. We'll see Texas later. Like, they don't need it. And same goes for Texas, but yeah, I mean, it means more for Texas to win this. Just in my SEC bias opinion, it means more for them to win this because tougher games down the road for Texas. But Ohio State is pretty much the creme de la creme of the Big Ten. So yeah, they're
I'm
definitely
gonna
gonna be a little more concerned to that.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. I mean, I am an Ohio State hater. Obviously, we know that, but
Yes,
you're just coming out with a real hot take here in episode 1 of college that Texas
you're
has
damn
much
right.
harder matchups later in the season. I mean, Ohio State just won the national championship. That's a hot take off the rip right there. Texas away, going to the shoe, week 1. Now, with all that said, I also went Texas here, but I don't know if I necessarily agree that there are many bigger games to come. I mean,
I didn't
that's
think you would.
yeah. All right,
But
at least
yeah,
we're on the
it's
same page.
right. And honestly, like I said, every team wants to win every game. It's football. That's part of what makes football great. You only get X amount of games. Everyone counts. But yeah, that being said, either team is going to recover from this loss.
I
So
agree with that.
yeah, it's not that huge of a deal. But yeah, the main reason I'm going Texas is yes, Arch has a little more playing experience, and I think that will be enough to help him get over the top.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely something I considered when making this pick. The other main point for me was Ohio State did just win the national championship. They are at home in game one, new quarterback. I think there's every chance that Texas is more hungry for this game, and Ohio State might just be a little bit overconfident coming fresh off the chip.
Yeah.
And Texas is really looking to prove something. And they are number one for a reason. So I've got Texas winning this.
Nice.
Up next, we've got Syracuse against 24 Tennessee. Slightly surprised to see Tennessee all the way down at 24 to start the year. Um, but I got them winning this game. I mean, Tennessee, SEC school at home, going up against Syracuse. Their offense may not be as lethal this year, losing a couple
Mm.
key guys, but their defense is still going to be stellar. And I don't think that Syracuse is going to be able to produce enough points to beat Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I have Tennessee as well. They did lose some talent, but I'm more concerned of the talent Syracuse lost. They lost McCord, they lost their top running back and tight end to the NFL. And yeah, they don't recover as easy when you're Syracuse. Tennessee did lose some juice as well, but yeah, they'll recover just fine. But yeah, to your point, I think they're sitting at 24 just because of the whole quarterback situation. Guy want more money and all that in college already. It's already begun. But yeah, I love how Tennessee stick to their guns and they were like, see you later. We'll figure it out. We got a backup in mind. So yeah, but I think that is why they are sitting at 24. But I couldn't agree more. The defense is still going to be stellar. And like I said, I think they're just a little more apt to restock the talent than Syracuse is.
Yeah, little aside here, but your tone when you talked about the money and the quarterbacks there, does that mean you're not a fan?
No. college college kids, already getting in contract disputes and fighting for more money. I mean, it's just it is what it is, but and I do see the importance of it too. A lot of these college guys, this is when they're going to make the most money in their lives and they're not all guaranteed to make the NFL and make a bag there. So I get why it's so important for these guys to get top dollar, but that being said, I mean, you're given the keys to a historical team in Tennessee and it's not good enough. Like you're still making millies and they're running this thing through you and you're just like you're not giving me enough. I just it rubbed me the wrong way. Like I said, I love how Tennessee handled it and said we'll see you later. We got other guys behind you ready to go.
Yeah, no, I do like how Tennessee handled that a lot. We've had a lot of similar conversations about holdout type things in the NFL, and I wish the owners were just a little more strict about it, to be honest. So I really,
Yeah,
really love what Tennessee did there. High level, I don't mind college players getting paid. What I really don't like is that it is basically an auction. Because one thing that
for
I
real.
think we all love is seeing a little guy make a run, which really only happens, that maybe there's a hometown guy that goes to his local school that's, a middle of the road college, typically in football, and helps elevate the program. That is never, ever, ever going to happen again with how the NIL is currently set up in college. They are going to go to the big schools with big money to pay them, and that's
Yep,
that. There is never going to be a little guy that really makes a run ever again with the way this is
true.
currently structured.
Yeah, and there certainly will be one-offs, I think, certain players that still I want to play for my hometown team, but football as we know is the ultimate team sport. So if you're the only guy doing that, you're probably not going to move the needle enough to get this small town team in a deep run. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's it's bittersweet. I don't like it, but it is part of what's making the Big Ten and SEC so exciting. These
Yeah.
conferences are accumulating all the talent, and they're the only ones who have the money to do it. Pretty much, there's probably six other teams outside that can, and they will too. But their conference play is going to be whatever. While Big Ten and SEC are going to beat the crap out of each other every single week, which is exciting, and I do like it. But yeah, you're right. There's something to be said about the small town run. But yeah, that is done. I agree with you.
Yeah, one final point, then we'll get to our next game here, is that I feel like college is almost becoming like a bit of a mini NFL in a way because of that, where the Big Ten and the SEC schools are your actual NFL teams, and all the other schools that people transfer out of when they have a good year and get big money are like the feeder schools, which, I mean, it's always been that way a little bit, but I think
Yep.
the current state we're in makes it much, much worse.
Yeah.
If you grow fond of the college that you're at and there's no money involved, like you might stay at that college. Nowadays, you have a good season, some Big Ten SEC schools can offer you millie to transfer. You're going to transfer it. It's just as
Yeah.
simple as that.
Yeah.
Plus
It's
those
human
six other
nature.
outside teams you mentioned there, there's the
Right.
Miamis of the world, the Notre fuck you Dame, join a conference.
Clemson. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So just had to get that out of the way. But let's get back to the games of this week. The next one, Old Dominion against 20 Indiana. Another Big Ten team ranked here.
Yeah. Yeah. Indiana looked awesome last year. Um, just based on reflection of the ranking this year, they're expecting a bit of a dip. But that being said, a top 20 ranking, I mean, that's no joke. And Old Dominion, they're not built for that. So I'm going Indiana.
Yeah, Old Dominion is not built for that, is all that you need to say. This game, I got Indiana as well. I mean, they're at home. Come on now.
Yeah.
Up next, Marshall going up against number 5 Georgia. That's an interesting one. Not. Georgia's going to pummel Marshall, and it's just as simple as that. Their defense is going to be just too much, and you can give the argument about Georgia's quarterback. They have that problem every year, and they're still always excellent. Georgia all the
Yeah.
way.
For real, dude. If they had a quarterback, my goodness. I mean,
Matthew
the last
Stafford's
one
the last
still,
notable
I
one.
was just gonna
Yeah.
say, our boy is still the last, yeah, good Georgia quarterback. But yeah, they should win. This is always a fun one, like matchups like this, because I truly believe Georgia's defense will outscore Marshall.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally see it. I could
Yeah,
totally see it. Moving on, we got Nevada coming into Happy Valley and playing Penn State here, my boys. An absolute layup of a week 1 matchup. Something to be said about Penn State's schedule this year, especially the early season schedule before we get into conference play. It's pretty weak. I'll be the first to tell you that. Nevada definitely fits the bill there. This could be a 40 to 50 point game when it's all said and done, especially with it being in Happy Valley. I
yeah,
expect Penn State to come out with a bang, try to really announce themselves. I think Drew's going to have a good game. I think that Nick Singleton's going to have a good game. I think our defense is going to dominate. I think everything's just really going to click in this game, mostly because Penn State's a good team, but also because it's Nevada.
yeah, yeah, dude. What a wild scheduled game. Like poor Nevada. That is a long journey to go to get your ass smacked.
I wonder how much Penn State paid them to come play them.
Yeah, I'm sure it was worth it probably, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's not going to be pretty and that's going to be a long way home.
Yeah, I did always find it fascinating how in college all of these good teams when they're figuring out their non-conference schedule at the beginning of the year that they pay the bad teams to come and play them. I always found that fascinating.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just it is we know the outcome, the likely outcome, the 98% outcome, and the other school knows it too. So you kind of have to make it worth their while. They're going to be playing straight up guys just out of their league. It's going to be like, a middle school team playing a college team or a high school team. That's what it's going to be. So I think injury risk and just everything else factors in too. They're just totally outmanned, outgunned. You know what you're signing up for. You're basically paying them to take a guaranteed loss in a football season. And like we said, every game matters. It's very important. I mean, so I think that's just it. You're literally paying a team off to lose.
Yeah, I mean that is definitely what it is. I also want to say the way you put that was hilarious. You said a middle school team going to get up against a college team. They are both
Yeah,
literally college teams, and you
yeah,
just
I
called
know.
Nevada a middle school football team, man.
Yes, yes. I'm just trying to paint the picture that, yeah, this ain't fair.
Yeah. No, I loved
And
it because
and and going a step up to high school, I felt wasn't enough because even then you lose by 30, Hunt 50, which is going to happen tomorrow.
That was great. Yeah, so good start for the boys in blue and white. Moving on, we got South Dakota taking on victors of week 0, number 22, Iowa State. I got Iowa State starting off 2-0 here, starting strong. I think they looked good against a ranked Kansas State last week. They get to come home now and play South Dakota. I don't think they'll face too many issues here.
Yeah. Yeah, should be just fine. I found that interesting because you mentioned they beat a team that was no joke last week, but they're the only ones who played. So I wasn't sure if their seed would change. Like, and in all reality, it probably should. They've already beaten a ranked opponent, and yeah, but here they are still at 22, and I don't think this one's gonna move them up much. So,
Yeah.
they'll probably need somebody to lose in front of them, but yeah,
No, I don't
they
I
should be
don't think
fine.
rankings change between after week 0. I think they
Yeah,
only
clearly
vote
not.
again after week 1, because otherwise
Yeah,
those Kansas State and Iowa State definitely would have changed. I think if Iowa State
yeah.
wins here, they probably move up a few spots for sure. Um, but let's go to the next game on the docket. Montana State taking on number 7 Oregon. I mean, it's really the story of week 1 when you have all these big guys playing all these small guys, but another blowout here. Or Oregon's going to take this one by a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not going to be close. Let's just hope Montana State has a cool experience playing in a stadium like Oregon's and just witnessing that atmosphere because yeah, that's all it's going to be about. They're going to have to, stretch for the little pros of this week cuz there's going to be a lot of cons.
This is true. This is true. Up next, we got Illinois State going to 18 Oklahoma, which Oklahoma being 18 after their performance last year is quite interesting.
Yeah.
I think the AP poll is expecting a lot of improvement out of them this year, and I do think they'll be better, but I'm not sure they end up 18 by the end of the year. We'll find out, but I do think they're certainly going to win week 1.
Yeah. Yeah, well put. And I agree. I was shocked to see them at 18 as well. It's just very soon. I mean, I'm not sure what kind of transfers they brought in or what their recruiting class was, but yeah, I mean, there's still a lot to learn before you're making a splash like that. But I don't know. Maybe they have it. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, this week should not be a problem for them.
By the way, I would love if we were both wrong about one of these to the audience there. It's so exciting when one of these little guys just
Oh, yeah.
takes over. But I just really, why would you ever pick against it? Let's be honest. But
Yeah.
we'll move on. This one is going to be, I think, really bad. Long Island taking on 15 Florida. I mean, that's not even a school you typically see in
No.
in this week 1 against the big boys. Like some of these previous names, you see them playing some of the big guys. But
Yeah.
Long Island is not one of them. I think they're going to get thrashed by Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, just wait till we get to AR Pine Bluff because I never freaking heard that in my life. uh, but yeah, I couldn't agree more. Florida, they certainly have a layup game here. Yeah, just tons of like preseason games for these schools, these big powerhouse schools. But it will heat up, folks. These college talks will get more interesting.
That is true. I honestly, you put it great. It's kind of like preseason. I actually do feel like these first few weeks of the season before these teams get into conference play truly are what they view as warm-up games in a sense.
Mhm.
Obviously they
Totally.
count, but when it comes to like conference seeding at the end, you don't even account for your overall record. It's your conference record. So I really think these are like tune-up games to describe them. But we'll
Yeah,
move on to the
totally.
next one. We got North Dakota taking on Kansas State, who still sits at 17 after the week 0 loss, which I thought this was funny when I was writing my notes down here. We had Iowa State and Kansas State play last week. Iowa State's welcoming South Dakota to their home, and Kansas State is welcoming North Dakota. So I just thought that was a funny little tidbit there, but I think Kansas State will bounce back this week, even their record, and put themselves back on a better track with a pretty easy win against North Dakota.
Yeah. Yeah, they certainly should. Yeah, I have that as well. Yeah, probably a little pissed off from last week. So, yeah, this one might get ugly.
Yep. Up next, we got University of Texas San Antonio going to Kyle Field to visit Texas A&M. Kyle Field's a tough place to play,
Yeah.
especially when you're University of Texas San Antonio. Texas A&M is going to roll.
Yes. Yeah, that's going to be a blowout for sure.
Now we get to a fun one here, and I'm going to let you take the lead. Number 9 LSU, your boys, taking a
Yay.
trip to Clemson in week 1.
Yes, the week one out of conference game. We know how this goes. I'm not homering it this year. I'm going Clemson. The LSU it'll probably be sloppy. They're just not going to be ready. It's going to be what we've seen the last few years in week one. And yeah, they'll drop to at least a really good school this time. It won't be a team that's out of conference and decent, but not as good as LSU. So my wounds will definitely heal faster. But that being said, if this was in the true Death Valley, LSU, I would go with them. But yeah, being away and in fake Death Valley, it's it, I gotta go Clemson. I don't like
Yeah.
it though.
One thing I'll give you is that LSU is the real Death Valley. 100% agree with you there. But I
I
mean,
could
you
kiss
said
you.
everything that I was gonna. Please come to Wisconsin ASAP. I'll buy the ticket. So we got 9 LSU. You mentioned it. Out of conference game, week 1. They've lost the previous few, playing okay teams. Now we got a team that you and I have making it quite far in our
Yeah,
NCAA football playoff predictions from an earlier
yeah,
episode. So I got Clemson here as well.
yeah.
They're home. It's just a tough game for LSU, and they
Yeah.
always come out the gate slow.
They
Brian
do.
Kelly, with all of his experience, still hasn't figured out week 1.
Yeah, I'm waiting until he's on the hot seat, man. Hopefully, it's only a few more years. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll find
it's
out.
gonna be bad. The high note is at least LSU's supposed to lose this one.
That's true. That's true. You can be pleasantly surprised if they win
Right.
rather than
Ex-
disappointed if they lose.
yes. That's refreshing.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Got a few more games left here. New Mexico traveling to number 14 Michigan. And before we talk about this game, I want to take a moment here to talk about some sanctions against Michigan, how I feel about this, how I feel about their national championship. With as harsh as these penalties that are coming down to all these various coaches, I really think their national championship should be revoked. They're effectively banning many coaches from, I forget what the actual terminology of the suspension is, but it's effectively a ban from college football for most guys are getting 10 plus years. Um, if they found enough evidence to hand those out, I mean, come on, that had to
Yeah.
make a difference in the games. So revoke Michigan's national championship. Fuck Michigan. And then to segue that into a little bit of Jim Harbaugh talk here, I think it's totally unfair. This man is just getting off scot free because he went to the
Yeah.
NFL. There's precedent in the past for NFL putting their hands into suspending a coach who was suspended from NCAA football for his actions there. I don't think that the NFL is going to take any action here, and he'll be coaching the Chargers all year. And I don't think he'll ever face any penalties, but I certainly think that he should. It's completely unfair. Everybody's just getting off basically fine, which
Yeah.
is ridiculous. They cheated the
Yeah. I
game.
mean, we saw with Pete Carroll too when he joined the NFL. I mean, this is a practice thing. And when you're a guy like Harbaugh, there's like always a seat for you at the NFL. I mean, yes, maybe he did want to just go out on top and come over, but you can't tell me he didn't kind of see the writing on the wall and get out of there. Because that's the other thing to be said about college coaches that win. I mean, it's different than NFL. Like the community aspect of college is different. So if you're like a Saban type and you're just winning year after year, like you're immortal in Alabama. Like you're doing whatever you want, whenever you want, and you're treated like a king. And I wouldn't put it past Harbaugh to fall down those same steps had these these allegations come to rise. And I feel like that definitely played a role in why he left Michigan. And to your point, something had to help this team win it all. It certainly wasn't JJ McCarthy.
Exactly, and that will be proven when we see him try to perform in the NFL this year. Hint, he won't. Um,
Dude, if he's
let's
good, we're cooked.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he's gonna have, like, a couple good games, I'm sure. I mean, the talent around him is insane, but
Yeah.
that's we're getting distracted. We're talking about the NFL. Let's focus back up. Uh, New Mexico, Michigan. Ultimately, I did end up picking Michigan here.
Yeah, I did too. It's so tough to to go against these ranked teams in their preseason games.
Yep. Moving on, we get to talk about Arkansas Pine Bluff, the boys you'd never heard
Yay!
of before, traveling to number 23 Texas Tech. And again, it's just Texas Tech all the way. I mean, SEC school against Arkansas Pine Bluff. Come on now.
Yeah. Yeah, Texas Tech is going to do just fine. Um I see no worries there.
Yeah. Up next, we got Georgia State traveling to number 21 Ole Miss. This one might not be as terrible, but I still think Ole Miss is going to win this pretty handily.
Yeah, this is another one where the seeding kind of shocks me, but more so the other way compared to Oklahoma. Ole Miss has been like a top 15 team pretty much without a doubt the last handful of years. So seeing them way up at 21, that's kind of confusing. But that being said, they're certainly not going to make a crazy move up if they win this week. So time will have to tell. They'll have to beat some legit opponents. But yeah, I was shocked to see them at 21 to start this year.
Yes. I'm also realizing I believe I skipped a game earlier. Number 8 Alabama traveling to Florida State University. Did
Don't
not
skip
talk
an
about that
actual
one.
decent one.
I know. I know. I was like, wow, how did I do that? My eyes betray me. But I got Alabama winning this one. I don't think FSU's been the same football team that they used to be when they were a consistent top 10 at least team, a lot of times in the top 5. They haven't been that in a long time. And Bama is Bama. So I got Bama taking this one.
Yeah, Florida State used to be nuts, man. I mean, it was a toss up them or Clemson year after year. And yeah, Florida State has just sucked. And then they had that one year where they should have made playoffs and got screwed out of it. And then ever since then, they're just back to their sucking ways. But yeah, I'm going Bama. I mean, Bama is so consistent. I mean, even post Saban, this game does not worry me. I think Alabama will be just fine.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. So working our way back to another not so great game, we got Eastern Texas A&M traveling to number 16 SMU. I was kind of surprised to see SMU all the way up at 16 here. Another ranking that surprised me a bit. I do have
Yeah.
them winning this game against, I mean, you got to qualify this Texas A&M with a direction. I mean, come on now. Uh, SMU's taking this one.
Yeah, yeah, without a doubt. I was a little surprised too. I haven't dove real deep into it. I'm wondering if they just retained a lot of talent because they had a very good year last year. So I'm wondering if that's the case there. Uh, Pretty open in the ACC. I mean, Clemson definitely far and away the best team in my opinion, but then you got Miami and then, maybe SMU right there.
Yeah. Up next, we got North Arizona traveling to Arizona State. And again, it's just another I mean, in-state games, those are pretty common for the first couple weeks too. Just, get the local matchups going, and it's
Yep.
always unfortunate for the little guy. So I got Arizona State here.
Yeah, I do too, and I'm glad you mentioned that because we're talking about these teams that got to go cross country for a spanking. At least that is not the case with Northern Arizona. They can just get a quick beating and get back before the nightly news.
Yeah, they're the neighbor across the street instead of the neighbor across town. So
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, up next, we got Virginia Tech Shout out our boy Tyler Julian,
Yes.
um, who's had us on his pod, the Slanted Attic Experience, once already a posted episode. We've recorded a second one as a little teaser for when that comes out later in the year. But there's his boys, Virginia Tech, traveling to South Carolina. And unfortunately for our good friend Tyler, I've got South Carolina winning this game.
Yeah. I do too, and I'm gonna make it even worse for our good buddy Tyler. I don't even understand the spread on this one because it was like I think 7 or 7.5 maybe. Which kudos to him if that's accurate. That means Virginia Tech ain't no joke this year. But until it is proven, I'm definitely gonna go South Carolina, and I think they'll cover.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Which brings us to our last ranked matchup of the week, and we got another good one to round it out here. We got number 6 Notre Dame taking a trip down to number 10 Miami. And this was an interesting one. I think this one could be really tight. I mean, Notre Dame's got Jeremiah Love, but Miami's at home. Carson Beck's there. And I think the best way I would describe this game is I think Carson Beck is going to throw up a smokescreen for the rest of the year. I think Carson Beck is going to look pretty decent here in week 1 against Notre Dame. Give Miami fans hope, only to tear it away as the year progresses and he gets worse and returns closer to what he was last year. In the ACC, I think he'll do better overall. Much easier
Yeah.
conference, especially on the defensive side of things. It is much, much weaker. But I don't think that he's going to be amazing. Certainly no Cam Ward, who dug them out of many bad situations because their defense couldn't do anything. But I got Miami in week 1 here.
Yeah, I also went Miami, and yeah, I like rolling with the vet week 1. That being said, I'm not talking about you, Nussmeyer, so I know what you're gonna do. But yeah, Beck, I like the odds of him being a little more game ready than whoever Notre Dame's rolling out there at quarterback. So yeah, I'm rolling Miami, but I do agree. I don't know really what kind of hype Beck's getting. I know like early into last year he was getting crazy hype. And yeah, I don't see him being that guy. I'm really curious to see where he does end up going in the draft. But yeah, I think his numbers will definitely look better being in the ACC. But yeah, definitely a tough test week 1, but I just think Miami's going to be a little more ready to go than Notre Dame will. And fuck Notre Dame.
Yes, fuck Notre Dame. Join a conference.
Yeah.
And also bitterness from last year. But anyways,
Yes.
we had 3 real opportunities. That wraps up the game. 3 real opportunities to pick differently here. The rest were chalk, let's be honest, if you're making a game
Yeah.
pick. Texas, Ohio State, LSU, Clemson, Notre Dame, Miami. And we matched up on all of those, meaning no matter what happens this week, you are going to be one up on me come week 2. So congratulations to you on that. Here's hoping for a clean sweep in all these predictions, which would mean Notre Dame loses,
Yeah.
Ohio State loses, and
Those
LSU
are some good
loses.
things. That's a bad thing.
Had to sneak that in there real
Yeah.
quick.
I'd love to be
But
wrong about that one.
yeah, but with that, that wraps up our first ever college only episode. I'm so excited for all the football that's going to be happening this weekend. Unbelievably excited for when we get to next weekend when we've got both college and NFL. It's a super exciting time of the year. Love it. Thank you all for listening in. We love and appreciate you. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Are we crazy? Are we not? And we'll talk to you again next week.
Later, PCC.